morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I hope your day is off to a great start. This wonderful June 18th here in Chicagoland. Jay's Chronicles back at you again, as always. Hope that you're in a good place, in a safe space, as we continue to talk about brainwashed. Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Over the past few days, we've talked about being brainwashed from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, the different areas in your life where you've been brainwashed from either your parents or your peers or your friends. All these things that impact you, the news, in terms of being brainwashed. So now with all this information that we've received this week and these examples that we've had, it's time to take some look at ourselves, to do some introspection, to really figure out, am I brainwashed? If you haven't thought that already, today's your day, because we're going to peel this onion back to figure out, are we brainwashed? So early in the week, last week, I was listening to this motivational discussion, and it gave a wonderful example. There was this kid who grew up, very affluent neighborhood, didn't really apply himself too much in school, did fairly well when he applied himself, was preparing for the SATs, just decided to wake up and take them, and he scored an amazing score. He scored like a 1460, which is like the top 1% of the 1%. Got into all the schools that he chose, walked into school, didn't really apply himself. He just repeated his life, didn't really apply himself. And he was on the verge of being kicked out of school, and he decided to flip the switch one day and said, you know what? I'm a 1460 SAT score individual. I need to start acting like it. And he took ownership of his life. He took ownership of his student life. He became a great student, graduates from college, does extremely well, becomes a multimillionaire over a very short period of time, living his best life. He gets a letter in the mail from the SAT board, and they say, excuse me, sir, we're sorry to tell you, but the SAT score that you were awarded of 1460 was actually incorrect. This never really happens. Your actual score was an 800. Could you imagine? But it didn't matter. Why? It didn't matter because this person had already brainwashed himself. He'd already scrubbed his brain to recognize that it doesn't matter about my score. I'm an amazing individual, and I've created myself to live an amazing life. Remember, your attitude dictates your altitude. That's a wonderful story when I heard it. And I can't remember the guy's name. He's a very affluent, very successful individual that this happened to. But that lets you know that you can create your life. I talk about it all the time. So when you start thinking about, am I brainwashed? Start asking these questions. Am I brainwashed enough to believe I can't create my life? Am I brainwashed enough to believe I can't live the life of my dreams? Am I brainwashed enough to believe that I can't live the life of a loved one with a loved one and a happy family? Am I brainwashed to believe that I can't live a juicy life? Am I brainwashed to believe that I can't be healthy? Am I brainwashed to believe that I can't be wealthy? Am I brainwashed to believe that I can't accomplish everything that's in front of me? If you're answering yes to any of these questions, it's time for you to take a step back and sit down and think about where you're headed and what you can do to reprogram your mind and scrub that brainwashing so that you can get on course, so that you're no longer asking yourself, am I brainwashed? No. And if I was, I am no longer. And this is what I'm doing about it. You can create your life. You are not a victim of what was put in front of you when you were a child or an adolescent or even an adult. Take the time to spend with yourself, to reflect on what's important. Have you been brainwashed? What are areas that are patterns in your life that were generational curses? No longer will you be told you're going to end up just like your dad or your mom. No, I'm not. Love them to death. But there's more for me. You know, as we walk through this week, I love this message, as I do all of them, because it gives me a moment in time to really look at myself. As I've shared with you before, this is therapy for me. It's not about who watches it or anything like that. This is therapy for me because it allows me to look at myself and figure out, am I brainwashed? Of course, there's certain areas that I am. But this message this week has allowed me to look at that and figure out what I can do to scrub that. And I hope that it allows you to do the same thing. And I'll end it with one thing that I do know I'm not brainwashed on anymore. And that's that a black man can be sleeping in his car in a Wendy's parking lot and get gunned down by a police officer, and that police officer is not served the justice that he deserves. Those days are over. Justice has been served in Atlanta, Georgia. I love you, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this message. As I continue to enjoy, we're going to wrap up the week on a strong note. Remember, I want you to ask yourself, am I brainwashed? And if so, it's time to have some conversations with yourself to figure that out. I love you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get you some. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
I've been brainwashed by all the things you say. I'm a sucker for doing